my dad's make it hurt.
Welcome back to another episode of Fill in the Blank podcast. I'm your host, Phil Austin. I have a very special guest with me today. We grew up together on the Lower East Side of Las Vegas. His name is Brian Seghers. He currently resides in Redlands, California, where he's doing a lot of great things out there. He is a business owner. He is a community involvement. He does a lot of community involvement. He is an amazing person, has lots of inspiration and motivation. Is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring him on the show, because he inspires me just by what he's doing. He motivates me by his work ethic and his workout ethics. So I had to get him on the show as soon as I got this thing started. So welcome. It's 0500 in California right now. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. And he's up bright and early. He said, "Hey, let's get it done. You got to make time if you want to do it." So why are we up at 5 o'clock in the morning, B?
Well, it really is just a matter of trying to find the time, man. And we've got, like, this weekend, yesterday, we had a ninja competition. So my kids and I have been going to this like American Ninja Warrior gym.
Yeah.
And then at the gym, they have competitions. So yesterday the kids competed, and then I had work, and then today the kids are competing again. And then we started a hot sauce company. So then we go there and sell hot sauce. And then my wife sells, she makes these keto treats. So she sells those. And then even Tinley's selling these, I don't know if your kids are doing it, but these like loom bracelets.
Yeah.
These like rubber band bracelets.
Yeah,
so
they love doing those.
Yeah. So anyways, got that going on. And starts at 8. And then after that, then it's family time, then family dinner. So it was either now or later tonight. And then you know what happens when you start trying to, who knows what else could happen during the day. So basically I didn't want to flake on you. So I wanted to get up.
Hey, I appreciate that. I almost called you and was like, "Hey, do you want to reschedule? I mean, I might have some other windows open." I really appreciate it. And just the fact that you were, good to go at 0500 is huge for me. So yeah, you've got a lot of stuff going on. So your kids, how old's your youngest?
Luke is 7 now.
7. And you have him doing these. I've watched your videos. He's a beast, man. He's crazy doing all sorts of, like you said, American Ninja Warrior type workouts and stuff like that.
Yeah, since they were born, Tinley, when she was born, my friend Aaron bought her a 5-pound kettlebell.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just walk her walk down to the park in the stroller, and then walk back. She'd usually pass out, and then that would be my time to work out. And then as time went by, she was just waking up. And then when she could walk, just from, I guess, watching or whatever, taking it in, she just started grabbing stuff and started working out. And then the same thing with Luke. And then it was always running them in the stroller. And then when they could ride their own bike, then they would ride their bike alongside me when I would run. So it's been a progression of things, I guess. And then just watching Ninja Warrior, keeping that on the TV, putting these things in their heads instead of, I mean, I'm not saying they don't watch cartoons or I'm like militant about anything, but it's just implementing these little things in their lives. And it is insane how much they really pick up that you don't realize.
Right.
And then it's just go time. It becomes a way of life for them.
Yeah. That's crazy. I feel like if I gave my kids a 5-pound kettlebell, they'd throw it at the other one, That's the way that they roll. But are they very competitive with each other about it, or is it more just encouraging, or is it?
They'll like talk crap about medals and stuff.
Sure,
but
absolutely.
But one of the coolest things about the gym is this community that they have as far as being there for each other and motivating each other. And it's really awesome. After the competitions, we get messages from other parents saying how cool it is that, like, our kids are there cheering their kids on.
Yeah.
And that becomes as important or more than actually competing.
Right.
Making sure that after every race is done, you know, they're shaking hands, they're going over to find these kids and you know, give them a hug and then encouraging them, and then vice versa. But yeah, it's competitive, and it's without letting, like Luke had been dominating, and then yesterday he didn't podium, and there was another kid named Luke that did podium. So when they said Lucas in third place, Luke started walking over there.
He started running up there.
And he was bummed, man. But he also was kind of messing around while he was doing his run. So it you know, hopefully it just teaches him another lesson, you know, that I didn't have to say. You know, I didn't have to tell him that these kids are coming for him.
Right. They're gunning for you, bro. You got to watch out.
Yeah.
I find that same sentiment that you were just talking about with the kids. I find that same sentiment with the running community as well. Obviously, I've gotten into more running, and you know, that's kind of the same sentiment where everybody's there to really just encourage each other and kind of promote. It's not about, I mean, some guys are out there to win it, and God love them. I mean, they go out and they're just beasts, you know, putting up crazy times, which I saw you put up some crazy times, and I'll get to that in a second. But he's I find that the community is more about just encouraging each other to do better, and they're just very supportive of each other. I mean, you know, even if it's your first race or your 100th race, they're just, you know, everybody's out there just because I think part of it is they know how much it sucks.
Right.
You know, they know how much it sucks to get out and train in bad weather, or trying to make schedules out of your day to do it. You know, because everybody else has things going on and there's no money in it, but you just love to do it to stay healthy. Um, but I think everybody understands that, you know, running is hard, or putting yourself to train for a 5K or 10K or a half marathon. It's hard, and it is hard on, you know, everybody, and you're all out there kind of doing it together. So why not be encouraging for it? So, and that's really why I've kind of gravitated towards uh, getting more involved with running, and you know, the local running communities, which I think are awesome. You've started exercise. Well, you've been exercising, but you've gotten into more competitions, or you're looking at getting into competitions, have been training for different stuff. I know that you were signed up for an Ironman. Is that correct?
Yeah. I've got well, I've done a bunch of half Ironmans,
Yeah.
and then the goal was always to do a full. So this year it was the goal, but it also, like you said, the sacrifice that it takes. I didn't want to be selfish and then not hang out with my family, my
Yeah.
kids and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
So so it was always, once they're both in school, then I would start training for a full, and then you know, and then you get businesses and stuff
Yep.
like that. So same thing.
Yeah.
And then this year I have a friend, Kim, and he's always he'll send me race links like, hey, sign up for this, sign up for this. So he sent me a link to the Arizona Ironman, which is almost impossible to get into.
The one in
And he sent me,
Tempe. Is it Tempe or Scott? Tempe, right?
I think so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. And it was you were able to sign up early. So I said, all right, I guess now this is the one. And so I signed up for that. So that one's in November this year. And
Okay. Yeah.
and then still have Oceanside. Oceanside was supposed to be in April, but that got canceled again. It got canceled last year, and it's canceled again now until that one's in October. So I'll have that in October, and then Arizona in November, and then I'll be done with it, man. I don't want to. It's something that I just have to do, and it's one of the. It's the only thing that I've said I was going to do that I haven't done yet in my life, and I just don't want to get old and then think about it, you know, and
Right.
regret not doing
Right.
it. So yeah,
Yeah. And
knock that one out.
and that's a huge motivational thing for yourself right there. My cousin actually did that Ironman. It was his first. He's the one that lives out in Atlanta, Georgia. Him and I ran the Atlanta. Well, he ran the half. I ran the full Atlanta Marathon in 2019. But he did that, and amazing accomplishment. And I think he signed up for the Coeur d'Alene, but everything is still getting canceled, and it's really
Yeah,
tough to kind of stay motivated to train.
right.
And then, you know, you're getting all pumped up, you got your schedule going, you're like, okay, we can do this. And then stuff gets canceled. I was
Yeah,
actually, I signed up for the Pittsburgh Marathon, which is supposed to be first weekend of May, and getting jazzed up for that. I started training, starting hitting stuff hard. And then at like the week after I signed up for it, they canceled it completely. And it's just, so it is tough to do. But I will have to warn you, man, that stuff's addicting, bro. I know I said the same thing when I ran my first marathon. I said, as soon as this thing is done, I am done. Like, this is intense. But as soon as after I got done running it, within 3-4 days, I think I was looking for another race to sign up. So I'm just warning you. I'm just throwing it out there.
No, dude, I get it. When I started, it was, I think that first year of racing triathlon, I think I did like 15 triathlons, and then
Were they
just
sprints, the sprint ones, or are you doing halves? Or
there was a couple sprints, halves, Olympic distance. I mean, the good thing about Encinitas, where that's where my other shop is
Yeah.
That's the mecca for triathlon. So I literally am. Well, there's Wally and Wayne Buckingham, these two twins. They were doing triathlons before they were called triathlons. They started triathlon,
Is that right?
and their friends, they used to get together on their friend's birthday and do these things. And then they took it over to Fiesta Island, and that's where they had the first triathlon. So I know these old guys that have literally done it since before it was even had a name.
Mm-hmm.
And so just getting with them, being surrounded by it, and being able to take in their advice. They were doing things before they had all this equipment that that people could rely on. But so that made it fun. And then and it was I don't know if it was necessarily addicting. I guess so. I guess whatever the addiction is, like finding out what your body can do, and then there's almost like a regret of like, man, if I would have got into this earlier, then who knows what I could have done, So there's different things that I've done since then, as far as like, I don't know, like we rode our bikes overnight from Redlands to Vegas. And
Yeah.
that was the hardest thing ever. And then my friend and I were like, this is stupid. Like, why did we do this? We're never doing this again. My knees stopped working, my butt. And then I think within probably like 3 months, because it took about 2 months to recover from that. And then we were like, all right, when are we going to do it again? And it was the worst. And then we did it again, and it was the worst thing ever. But I think I didn't want it to become, for some people, it's their identity, like like running, the sports or whatever, it becomes an identity. For better or worse, the community is amazing. And like you said, it to me, the training, it shows that a person does have discipline, and you do have that kind of common thing, almost like you can count on them, whether if a city, I don't know, it is a bond. This person's not going to give up when things get tough. They put themselves through it. Like you said, you're getting up early you're motivating yourself.
Yeah.
And that's somebody that you can count on. And if I find, even within business, it always works out better, man. If somebody exercises, their mentality is going to be different. It like detoxifies you. That's what I try to explain to people as far as exercise, man. It makes you feel better. It makes your day better. You're a much more positive person. It's literally changed my life. It really has, physically, mentally, emotionally, everything, dude. It's a crazy thing. And I know that even to this day, I still have to have exercise, or, it's really, I'm depressed. I'm bummed out. I don't, my drawings aren't as good.
Yell at your kids more.
Yeah. And my wife is amazing. And I mean, I think the last time when we were redoing our kitchen, and, it's like day 20 when it was supposed to be day 10, and all. And I'm just standing there looking at everything, and my wife just looked at me and she was like, just go and get the run in. And it's become this thing that for me to control my mind,
Mm-hmm.
I have to do this. There's like two people, there's me, I and I can recognize it. And and I know I have to keep this other person like under control, like not like I'm gonna freaking lose my mind, but
Right.
um, I try to I tell people and I'm no doctor at all, but when they're depressed and they're on pills or they're doing these things and they're overweight, and then they'll say things to me like, well, I could never do that. I could never do what you do. It's like, well, I could never do what I could do either at one point,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I was 300 pounds, smoking a couple packs of cigarettes a day, getting wasted for years. And you start slow, you don't jump into, an Ironman or a full marathon. And it's literally walk around the block and then walk around 2 blocks and then start running that. And then, run. When I started running, um, I just had been losing weight and then started running on a treadmill, and I couldn't run. I started doing intervals. So I would walk for a minute, run for a minute. And I would walk for like, my walk would be like 2 miles per hour, and my run was like 6 miles per hour, so whatever that is, 12, what is that, like a 12-minute mile or
Yeah.
something,
Something like that.
dude. And I was dying.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
but then that became, start, going a little bit faster on the run, adding, a minute, and then I'm running for 2 minutes, not walking, and then 20 minutes, and then 30, and then that became the competition for me, is
Yeah.
again just seeing, calories burned or whatever distance. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the biggest thing, is just starting slow,
Yeah.
and you'll see a massive change.
Well, like you said, I totally agree with that. And it's been a very similar journey for me. And I think that's really what it is. You take yourself from this spot where you feel like garbage. You're not doing much with your life, or you're not comfortable with where you're at because of, either past failures, or just like you said, you're treating your body like crap. Um, and, you know, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to make a change. And you make that change, and it's this constant process. It's this constant refining, this constant kind of improving yourself. Where you run 3 miles, and that's what it took for me. I ran 3 miles. I remember the first time I ran 3 miles for this training, and I was dying. I mean, I was like,
Yeah.
there's no way. There's no way I'm going to do. There's no way. It's not going to happen. But then the next day I had to get up and run another 3 miles. And then the next day I had to get up and run another 3 miles. And then I had to run that weekend. I think I had to run like 5 or 6 miles. I had to run on like a Saturday. I had to run like 6 miles, and that, I think I walked half of it, or it definitely wasn't running the whole time. But once I got over that 6 mile, the 3 mile hurdle was nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say nothing, but it definitely
Right.
seemed like a
Right.
lot easier. So it was this constant refining, this constant process where, I was like, okay, you did the you've done the 6, you can do 3. So it was this mental toughness that you're building upon. And I think, like you said, other people that have gone through that, you can trust them because you know that they've gone through that same process, and you know
Right.
that they're trying to improve themselves. So you know that they're not out there to kind of, they're not fooling anybody, and you're not fooling anybody.
Right.
So you know, I think that this way I said, that community grabs so much better. I can remember the first marathon that I ran in Philadelphia. Huge support. Thousands of people out there, thousands upon thousands of runners. It's an amazing race. Um, I remember I was coming into like the last few hundred yards, right? And I'm broken. I'm done. I have nothing left in the tank. All I have is just basically the people that are cheering, around me, and that's all that's kind of motivating me to take each step a little bit farther, each a little bit farther. And I'm just like, I'm gassed. I have nothing left. And no, no joke. I'm running up, and like I said, I got a few hundred yards left, and there's this right in front of me, maybe 10 yards in front of me, is this 80-year-old lady. I think her name was like Gloria or something like that. And because everybody has their names across on their
Mhm.
number, and so everybody's like, "Yeah, Gloria, go, Gloria, you're doing it." And she's just kind of trucking along, running her thing, and I'm dying inside. I'm 38 or 39 at the time, and I'm like, I was kind of like, at the time, I was like, "Well, screw you, Gloria."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But even at 80, she, but afterwards, I was like, to be 80 or whatever, however old she was, and to be doing that is an amazing feat.
Yeah.
And you get that from, I think it's that transition, that process of, continue to improve yourself. And for me, and it sounds like you're on the same track with this, but for me, I've now implemented that process of trying to be better in every area of my life,
Yep.
whether it be with family, business, just working with friends. You're trying to just make yourself the best that you can be, and everybody around you the best that they can be. Because you're like, if I can get that community from the running or from the triathlon and bring it to every area of your life, this world's gonna be a great place.
Yeah. Yeah. And different people, you have some people, um, their their PRs, I guess, are different. They're obviously their goals are different. And some people want to own businesses, some people don't. Some people want to run marathons. Some people are cool doing a 5K or just doing CrossFit workouts or whatever it
Mhm.
is, right? Um, but people, there's always somebody that's sitting on the couch that's going to think you're crazy just for doing jumping jacks. They don't even do jumping jacks.
Mhm.
So then when it comes to things like business, people will, I get that all the time. Like, well, you're crazy. You want to do that too? How do you do that? You're doing
Mhm.
this. And usually my answer is that I don't watch TV. I don't have, I mean, I'll watch some fights and I'll watch the last hour and a half of golf sometimes, but if you take those things away, now all of a sudden you have an extra minimum 2 hours a day, right? Like, I'm sure people watch. So in those 2 hours, I mean, dude, you can go exercise, you can get some drawings in. For me, all of these things are always on my mind. Or that's when you do you go through envelopes or you're paying bills. And so you can stress yourself out, or like doing this. I could have been thinking like, okay, I got to get this done because I still got to talk to Phil. And then I'm trying to get friggin' 8 things done in a day. So get up and knock it out, get up and
Mhm.
knock it out, get up and knock out a little bit of exercise. Push yourself to where you feel like you're dying. I mean, like when I do my, like, I guess I'll say CrossFit based workouts, I do them until um my goal is to feel like I'm going to pass out, and then that pain or that threshold just keeps going and going. And that's not to be, sound like a badass or a crazy dude. It's just what what's the point? I've got other things I need to do. So why sit here and mess around with this workout, whether it's a run or a bike ride, when I should be with my kids, or I could be doing whatever, talking to my wife. So if I'm doing it, then I'm doing it. And like you said, then that translates into everything. If I'm spending time tattooing, just whatever it is in general, that's where the you have to put that value
Mhm. Mhm.
on time, whatever that's called. I'm sure there's a word for it that I'm not articulating correctly. And then I think once you do that, then you're able to manage. You just manage everything better. Um, but I also have friends like, man, one of the early guys that I met in triathlon was this guy Jerry Foreman, and he was 71 at the time. He qualified for Kona. Like, he's literally
Wow.
every Ironman he's done. He's always the oldest dude doing it, and now he's 80 something. I don't remember the last time he did a triathlon, but or at least a full Ironman. but just cool dude, just
Yeah.
the coolest dude. And everybody wants to hug him when he's at a race. He's just like just the coolest, most inspiring dude at the race.
Right.
And like you said, it like, if you're not motivating, or you're not moving forward, then what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Um, Matt Hoffman. You remember Matt Hoffman, the BMX dude?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If you watch the birth of Big Air, it's like a documentary, like a 30 for 30 on him on
Mm-hmm.
ESPN.
Okay.
One of the things that he said about always crashing, breaking bones, surgeries, he said, if I don't break every bone in my body by the time I die, then I wasted my body. Like, I didn't get everything out of it. And I mean, I don't want to do that, but
Right.
but I want to find out what I can do, but I also want to be honest with myself. Um, Again, there's just, I mean, I'm still 200 something pounds, but I can find my strengths and things, on the bike or the run. The little guys are always going to smash me on the run, and I try to keep up with them in the swim. And same thing with this ninja stuff. This stuff's built for like tall, just the power to weight ratio is so different. So if you're trying to grip onto things, it's not going to work out. But then I can flip a heavy tire faster than them. So,
Right.
but they still smash me. But I enjoy it. It's just fun,
Well, it
and it's
pushes you.
challenging.
It pushes you to try to improve in the areas where you have those weaknesses.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey,
Nice.
but yeah, I don't know, like, you ever hear people talk about like the demons, like
Oh,
running from the
absolutely.
demons? That was something, I think Lance Armstrong said that also, whether, feel however you want about him, but
Hmm.
he said that every endurance athlete is running from their demons. And I believe in that for sure.
Hmm.
I don't know to what extent or whatever it is, but uh there's always that. And maybe that is that mental part that I was talking about. And just, I mean, sports are the same for you, right? Like, sports,
Oh yeah. Grew up
we
playing
grew up,
sports. Yeah.
yeah, we grew up playing them. And maybe it's for me, maybe it's something with childhood, like trying to find, like, I didn't get to achieve my goals in sports when I was a kid, so now I'm doing it as a friggin' 42-year-old.
Yeah.
But
Well, one of the I
who knows?
follow you a lot. I follow you a lot on Facebook, obviously, and of course my dad does too. He's a huge fan of you. So I think that's all he does in life. But but one of the things that I've picked out of your one of your Facebook posts was, you said it's important to fail, and failure is important. And now obviously as a business owner, failure is not ideal. And even with family, failure is not ideal. But in our general lives, failure is important. Um, what is your take on that? How do you express that?
Well, it's, yeah, um fail I well I think I I also say that I've been fortunate to make it through some unfortunate things. Like, you don't go looking, hoping, you, like you said, you want everything to be successful, but it doesn't work out. Not to sound like cliche, but it's like,
Mhm.
then it's not how, or if you fall, it's how you get back up, or whatever it is. um the life experiences, if you only read about things in a book, you're taught, say you go to business classes, and you're taught how to run a business. You just can't. I don't think that you can get some advice from people that have been through it, but ultimately it's a daily thing that you're stressing out about, or you're worried about, or you're constantly thinking about, that you don't find in books. And if a lot of people rely too much, so if they're put in a situation where it's not in that book, that they can't turn and find it, they don't know what to do. they panic, and then they're just done. And then they blame other people because these other people didn't tell them how this was supposed to be done. But the failure part for me, obviously, like going to prison and all that stuff. I know literally rock bottom. I know what that feels like, and I don't ever want to be there again, man. So when I got out, I wanted to keep going as far away from that place as I could. And if anything that was a roadblock or a speed bump or anything, I just freaking just kept avoiding it. Whereas, and I knew where it would lead, again, to failure. Like, so if I'm in a situation and I see it's a bad situation, instead of just hanging out to see what's going to happen, I'm like, no, I'm out of here, man. And then people,
Right.
Well, you're overreacting or whatever. It's like, no, I'm not overreacting. You don't understand, dude. Like, I've seen the worst of how this could end. And then that, when I think that well, I know that then that's also what gets me involved in the community and help, wanting to help kids, because again, I've been in that, the worst. They don't understand it. They don't know what's coming if they don't get a handle on things, at 13, 14. I mean, honestly, if you're headed down that path at 10 years old, then somebody doesn't do something real quick. So it's that sense of urgency for me, every day to again, if I'm not making a difference, or if I'm not trying to make a difference or figure out the next thing, then I feel like, I mean, it sounds dramatic, but I feel like I'm failing at life. Like, what's the point? Well, I'm just wasting resources if I'm not using them. But so there's so many layers to that. And it does relate to so many different things. But again, fortunately for me, I got that out of my system early on. So I'm not gonna, I hope I'm not gonna have like a midlife crisis or something that
Right.
then I go lose all my money or whatever the case may be. Like, I've already done it, I've done that. So hopefully it's everything's held together at this point. But there's, like your dad, it's just crazy, man. I talk to your dad now, and it's still like going over to your house and talking to your dad when, I was 15, or
Right.
16.
Right.
And seeing, it was just always cool to see, no matter what it was, he was pumped on it. Like, he's pumped on everything. And whether it's engraving a little thing or just the like passion and his attitude about everything. And there's parents, your parents, I mean, even like Marla, Nikki's mom, and there's parents, and of course there's plenty more. I'm not trying to just leave anybody out, but
Right.
that I feel like I didn't want to. I mean, they were very encouraging early on. When I got out of prison, they were supportive. Marla, and I didn't want to let them down. I wanted to show them that I could do more.
Right. Right.
And just give people hope in others. So it wasn't necessarily about me. It was me being able to show, like, hey, next time there's a kid that's, messing up or doing all these things, there's still a way to get to them. It's in there, like you can make it click, and there's going to be some good in them. They just had no idea how to find it. They just need to get set in that direction, find something they enjoy. And again, just like exercise, just like running a marathon, something happens there on that path if you're exposed to it, and and you find something that you didn't even know you needed. You didn't even know that you would like it at all. And giving people options, and again, getting it to them early on. They think that they're going to finish school and life's going to start and everything's going to be great. And that's just not the way it is. And you need to figure out what you like. Otherwise, you're going to be doing things that you don't like for the rest of your life just to get by.
Right.
So just not accepting that, like not never settling, and never accepting that that's good enough. That like I made it. I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go.
Well, I think when you're on that path of, when you're trying to improve yourself, you're like, all right, if I could just accomplish this triathlon or this Ironman, and when you're trying to improve yourself, you always know that there's going to be more room for improvement. And once you have that, and that's where I go back to just trying to make everything that I'm around, trying to make the best that I can be, because I always know it's never going to be the best. But as long as I'm trying to improve on that, I'm going to get this satisfaction because I'm continually going through that journey. There's no end to it. And even though I cross a finish line, I know that there's another race that I want to challenge myself towards. And I think, while we're here, we are that, like, what else are we going to do? Like, I want to continue to improve so that when people look back at my life, or, in your life, people are going to say, well, what did he do? Or how much money did he have? Or
Right.
what kind of car do you drive? Nobody's going to care about that. Nobody's in 100 years, nobody's going to care, but it's the legacy that I'm leaving now, that the impressions that I'm trying to make an impact on people now, that's really going to last as a legacy that's going to last through the future, through my kids, through the community around you, through, just the people that you're interacting with. If I can try to make an impression or an impact on their life in a positive change, or encouraging them or motivating them, inspiring them to be better themselves, that's going to last. I can hand them $20 or $100 and say, go change, or go be inspired, or go be motivated. And, that $100, I might as well just burn it up. But if I can make an impact and invest more of myself, through words or encouragement, that's going to last much longer than that $100 is, and hopefully much longer than anybody would have anticipated.
Yeah. It you're you have to share your knowledge, right? Like, otherwise, what's, like you said, like what's in my opinion, like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, again, like, I feel like I have these two dudes that I'm like watching over. But if I don't share my experiences, and people have been like, well, you really want to talk about that, or you really want to go there? And it's like, well, yeah, man, like, what if I don't share my life, then um what that I could help more people by sharing what I've been through than keeping it to myself because I'm supposed to be embarrassed or whatever, or ashamed
Mm-hmm.
of it, or whatever the case may be. um I like talking about it and then being able to say, and then now look where I am,
Mm-hmm.
or look what you can do. It takes 20 years. It's taken me all this time to get to where I am. But it's the same as losing weight. You can, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful to anybody that's had like a surgery or anything like that. You can get rid of that weight in a day, like, right? Like, you can get it cut off, you can get it tied or whatever. But you don't go through that process, that slow process of really getting rid of it, really sacrificing, to where when you you don't want to put that weight back on, and or you're not going to use that easy fix again the next time that something comes up. You're not going to just cut it off and use it for what use this in any way you want. Business, it you're not looking for the easy way out, basically, I guess, is the thing. And then the easy fix, um God, sorry, dude. I start rambling on
No,
things,
that's right.
trying to get these
And,
thoughts out.
no, you're doing great. And that's actually where I really wanted to start this podcast, because I wanted to let people know that we're all struggling. You know, we all have our failures. We have all quit. We've all, you know, been in that place where we don't want to go back to. And, you know, to let people know that we're, you know, that we're all facing the same struggles. I mean, life is struggle. You know, each and every day that you wake up, you know, if you're just going to work, you're just trying to make it with your kids, or if you're you know, you're pushing yourself to be better, it's all a struggle. And we're all getting there. And what you were saying, as far as, you know, making it worth it, making it count, you know, from going from you know, a certain weight to trying to make the effort to change. I've had this thought in my mind, you know, for a while now. But you know, I look at the people that, you know, it's a difference between someone who's taken themselves from the ground up, like in business, where you've put in the hours, you're putting in the blood, the sweat, the tears, you're putting in a sacrifice. And the guy that goes from, you know, the amazing American story that you hear, that had $2 in his pocket and is now a multimillionaire. That guy, his wisdom, his worth is so much more. A person can go and buy a lottery ticket and win 300
Right.
$300 million, but that guy's a degenerate. He's a piece of crap. You know, he's got
Right.
nothing to offer this life other than money, and he's going to go blow that money on whatever he wants to. And sure, people are going to want to be his friends, but they're not going to come to him and say, hey, I'm suffering with this struggle. What can you get? Like, how can you help me? Or, you know, I'm not looking for money, but I'm just looking for, how can I overcome this challenge? The guy that's been there with $2 in his pocket and is now on top is going to be so much more valuable. And I think that that's kind of why I wanted to do this podcast is, you know, I obviously haven't faced all those struggles, but I get it now. I get that we're all struggling, and you know, there's so much more that we can offer each other. And you do that a lot with the youth in your area. You do toy drives, you're involved with charity drives, you're involved with the local police and fire departments, doing activities with them. Um, you're constantly trying to improve the local business areas. And I know that this past, you know, 12 months have been a crazy whirlwind for everybody, but you know, I know that in California is, you know, the strictness
It's a
and
nightmare.
yeah, it really is with COVID and everything. Um, but you're really trying to improve the community in ways that I don't think anybody else that I've seen is trying to do. Um, what are some of the efforts that you're seeing now that you know, that you're still trying to work with the community? Just tell me a little bit about what you're doing right now.
Well,
That's
there's
a loaded question, right?
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of times where my wife and I will stop and we'll talk about it, and it's like, well, how did I get in this position? You know, like, why, how, I'm, you know, because there's still that, I hate to say stigma, but that idea of a tattooer or somebody like me, no matter what I do, people are still gonna find things to discredit me with or whatever. Or it doesn't matter who I am now, it's just who I was then, or whatever the
Mhm.
case may be. So I try to use, I've always tried to use, again, my past or how I've gotten here as a way to bring people together. A lot of people didn't know that that I had been in prison until I did the city council thing a couple of years ago. And at that point, then again, people just started looking at things differently, or people differently. But I've always tried to go outside of my box, like not just surround myself with people that like tattoos, or that like riding bicycles or running, or you know, it was always like bowling, golf, everything. I always try to do everything. So in doing that, I was able to cross network with other business owners. Like one of my favorite people in the city is Dr. Paulson, who's an orthodontist, we couldn't be further apart on the spectrum than him and I. But now people that get tattooed at the shop, they go to Dr. Paulson because they know, like, I trust him. And then he sends people to get tattooed by me. He would never get a tattoo, or I don't think he would. But in doing that, then it was just getting people that didn't really talk to each other to talk to each other. And I guess I became this kind of bridge. and the same thing with the police, and then say kids that are going to opportunity school. The kids, they relate to me, and then I'm able to say these are my good friends, and not because I'm snitching on people. Like, these are actually good people that want to help. And so and a lot of times I say things that other people won't, and again, for better or worse, it's just the way it is. I can't go to sleep if I don't say what's on my mind. So when all this stuff started happening, after a couple of weeks, I just wanted to bypass everybody. I went straight to our congressman that's here in town. And I was like, something has to happen. This can't go on. This is 2 weeks into it. And they're saying, well, it'll be another week. It'll be, give it that. And then, I'm always in contact with the council, or most of them. Again, there's people like the mayor that I just don't get along with, and we don't like each other. And but it was that constant, like, we need to do something. And business owners are panicking. My friends are literally like losing. They're worried about, like, I'm going to lose everything if this doesn't change real soon. And so on. And then there's the people that are like, well, let's stay positive and let's do this. And, let's think about the bright side. And it was like, all right, that's cool. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm okay. Like, I'm going to be okay. I've saved for a recession, and then all of a sudden it becomes more than a recession. And then I'm watching people that didn't save, they're losing everything, and their families, and this, and just hearing all these different stories behind the scenes. While on social media, people maybe aren't being as, they're not really letting people know how serious of a situation this is for them. But just navigating through all of that, and then trying to just get answers for people, and I guess also being I guess just being somebody, or trying to be a voice for people that, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's not that they don't know how to use their voice, they're scared to, they're worried about, they're intimidated by people, or whatever the case may be. Just going out there and literally just saying, like, well, what's the worst? I don't know. What's the worst that can happen? How do we make this situation better? And if we just sit by and let it continue to go on this path, no one's coming to help. We got to help. We got to help each other. So, we started doing, we just started having meetings. I put together some meetings with business owners, and then just looking around, these are all my friends. These are all people now that I'm introducing the community to each other. And it made us stronger, being able to share resources, of course, and then allowing other business owners to know that this person's going through the exact same thing that you're going through. You just didn't know it because they're still posting pictures of, like, walking on trails and sunrises and sunsets and all that shit. But everybody's struggling, man. And I was just like, I want to be honest. And then that way, then people do reach out. They know that they can talk to you because, hey, we're gonna have to have this honest conversation. And it's still going on. It's still, people are now going over their accounts and their books, and they're looking at how much they lost this last year.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a long time for a lot of people to get back on track. And now there's debt that they've collected, and oh man,
it's a hot mess.
It is. And everybody's going through it. So you also try not to be that person that's like, you don't want to act like it's just you, right? So when people ask, well, how's it going? It's like, well, it's going the same as it is for everybody else. But again, not accepting that, well, everybody's going through it. So I guess it's okay for me to fail, or it's okay for my business to take a hit, or basically use it as an excuse. And I think that's where we're at. And that's what this is all about, right?
Yeah. And, you were asking about businesses before we jumped on the podcast, a business that I had. And, the one I was telling you, I had the eBay store. I honestly, I don't know. I mean, I took it from where I was when I had to close the business, which I'm not proud of that I had to close the business. It was kind of like quitting, kind of like giving up, but I had to make some hard decisions, which, you kind of, it was a gamble. It's like, if I stick it out, am I really going to make this successful? And I feel like maybe, but I also, I think now with with COVID and the shutdowns that are still in place here, I don't think they're as nearly as bad as you have in California, but just based upon what I'm seeing from following you. But I honestly, I'm grateful that I'm not a business owner, to be honest. I'm grateful that I didn't have to go through that. I mean, because I said there, I probably would have been one of those businesses that wouldn't have made it out. It would have been, the 2-week thing. And then, okay. But as soon as it went past a month or two,
Yeah.
it would have been really, really difficult. And then, then you have families that are involved. I'm providing for my family, I'm providing for the community, and it's there's a lot of hard questions that you got to take on.
Yeah. And for me, and it, as far as business goes, it's literally like my business saved my life. Like tattooing saved my life. There was nothing else I could do. There was nothing else. There was nobody that was going to hire me. I tried to go work. I think a bunch of our friends were working at a car wash or something when I got out of prison. They wouldn't even
All
hire
right.
me.
Right.
Yeah. So tattooing was something that, I was just kind of like, okay, I'm going to get good at this, and I'm going to try to do these things, and telling people early on, like, this is my path. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get good at this. And, or my goal is to get as good as I can possibly get. Someday I'll own my own shop, and I could do things. And people were kind of like, oh, okay, sure. Whatever. Cool. And I think most people were just happy that I had a job and I was doing stuff.
Right.
And, but, so with that, there I it it was it's everything to me, tattooing. I've met everybody. I'm doing the sports that I do. I'm doing triathlon because of triathlon, or because of tattooing. And then just the people that have invested time in me with tattooing, and everything that's like you said. Like, I moved to Redlands and I had everything that I owned in my car, and that was just my tattoo stuff, my tattoo chair, some clothes, tattoo equipment. So in opening this shop, I put everything that I had into it, and it was kind of like a put up or shut up type of thing. Like, I had talked so much crap about the way things that I liked and didn't like about tattooing, and then took what I had learned from people that I respected, the good things, and I wanted to implement it into this shop and show that it could work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not it's not and again, not to discredit any business owner at all, but it's not just a business for me. Like, it's not just so you're asking me to shut down not just the ways how I pay my bills, things like that. There's so much more. It means so much more to me. Like, you're
Yeah.
literally taking, like,
Your child
that,
away from you.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And then again, like, my business, like you said, I'm able to then, it's like, man, I can't help these people now. Like, I can't do fundraisers. It's so hard right now, getting messages from friends, like nonprofits. Like, just yesterday I got one saying, like, hey, if the business owners want to support this event, it's like, man, it's really hard for me to go and ask business owners to throw money at things now. I mean, it just is. But it 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 people approach it differently. I didn't want to take on any debt. I didn't want to take on any loans. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. And just build it back up. I don't know. You figure out a way to get through it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was more than, it just means, it means a lot to me. It means a lot to me. And it's not an option to give up or close. And I don't know. We'll see where things go from here.
Yeah. Now you guys, and I forgot to give a plug into both your shops. You have obviously your main bread and butter, which is Rendition Tattoo in Redlands, California, which was your first shop. You also have 454 tattooing in Encinitas, California, which is a beautiful area. Um, and are you back open now, or you guys kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
sub up certain hours kind of thing?
Well, we were allowed to open. I guess it's been about a month and a half,
Okay.
and but yeah, 454 is a little different, and we have piercing down there, so there's just certain things that you can't do, like under the mask stuff, and so we just keep it limited. And then renditions pretty much become an appointment based shop, so we're able to keep everything controlled there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the tattoo shop, we've always been as cleaner than any medical office that you're going to walk into. So that was another thing that early on I made a video and was like, this is what we do already. You know, I'm already
Yeah.
doing more than you guys are asking us to do. You know, I understand bloodborne pathogens. I understand how things are transmitted and all that. So um, I think that also helped people that knew us, knew the shop, or knew anything about tattooing. They were comfortable coming to us. You know, so we were able to do things that other businesses weren't able to do as far as when the shutdown was happening. Um, but but yeah, so yes, we are open, and the it's the community support's great. You know, I'm really pumped that the community came through. They helped us. They helped out all the businesses that have made it through. Encinitas, that shop's been there. 454's been there for 30 years, and it's like just part of the culture down there. You know, surf and skating.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets tattooed down there. Everybody gets tattooed. It doesn't matter who you are. You know, CEOs to just kids in the week there for the weekend surfing, and everybody
Yeah.
gets along. It's so cool. Um, so I it it yeah, yeah, we're moving along. We're moving along, and making it through.
Is there I'm not going too political here. Are there concessions being made right now to open up? Is there any kind of light at the end of the tunnel? I know, we're all kind of just waiting for things to kind of kick back. Have you seen, is it slow and steady kind of resurgence, or is it still kind of
Well,
plateaued where you're not sure what's going to happen?
the weirdest thing about all of this is that we were playing this game where, like the last shutdown, like official shutdown, everybody put, like the salons put paper on their wall, on their windows, and I don't know if they did that out there, but everybody was. It was like put you drive.
Bootlegging,
Yeah, you drive.
bootlegging salons.
So you drive by, you drive down the street and you see all these businesses with paper in their windows. So you know they're open. You know,
Right.
everybody's doing it. You know, everybody's doing it. So why are we pretending that we're closed? Like, uh we're restaurants. Like I was going to eat at my friend's restaurants that literally just let me know, knock on the back door, come in. And but again, it was also people that I trusted that are safe. And in my mind, it was like, well, I'm healthy, dude. I'm good. So I don't want to be punished for your unhealthy way of living. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's way more factors. There's many layers to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it was like, well, everybody's really open, but we're pretending that they're not. And we're also saying that if you do open, then it's going to be this super spreader event, but it's not, because everybody's already open.
Right.
We're just
And nothing's,
pretending.
yeah.
We're giving this perception that we're doing like what's right. But anyways, so yeah, I think the only things that are supposed to be shut down are indoor dining for restaurants, but you still drive around in all the restaurants. Everybody's eating, and now all the numbers are going down. So it's like, and they got the vaccines going. And I don't want to and obviously, I do have friends that are firemen that, I talk to them at the kids' swim practice, and it's like, they're like, yeah, we go to people's houses, and they don't come with us. They don't go to the hospital, and then they're dead the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that it's not a joke. I'm not saying anything like that, but you know, again, what are the underlying conditions? What are the precursors? And did anybody do anything to change their lives?
Right.
Hopefully, hopefully people do also take this as a reason to set up some barriers, set up some physical barriers within your body to help protect against these things.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, my family and I, we were, and a lot of my friends, it was like, come on with it. I'll take the sickness. A
Yeah.
lot of all my friends that have been healthy have walked through it. But like you said, you don't want to make it a political thing. And it's
Yeah, definitely see things from both sides. Working in the emergency department and essentially dealing with the virus since day one, really.
yeah,
Um, you know, and seeing the effects of it, and realizing, but I see both sides of it, because there's so much, well, this place can be closed, but this place can't, can be open.
right,
Well, you can travel here, but you can't travel there.
right.
You can hang out here, but you can't. It's just
The
it
contradictions.
the contradictions and just the double standards.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
I think that's what gets a lot of people. I know that that's what gets me kind of. I just look and I go, "This is so dumb." But I did get vaccinated. I just honestly, I was, at first I was like, no, and I know a lot of healthcare providers and a lot of healthcare workers haven't. They've been offered it and they haven't got it, just because of the stigma of it. Well, it hasn't been around too long. What are the long term effects? What are what how's my body going to react to it? So I know that there's a lot of apprehension about that, and I kind of was just with the mindset of like, what, if this gets me one step closer to seeing my parents out in Las Vegas, to where we can travel and I can, hold up my vaccination card and be like, I'm free, suckers, I'm going.
right, right.
And if that's my passport to go, then that's kind of was my motivation to get it done. And I was also encouraged by some people I don't see on the inside, but people that had actually followed the trials, that said, you'll be all right. And I said, okay.
Yeah,
But that was my motivation to getting vaccinated. But again, I wasn't doing it for any kind of like, political purpose, or to say I'm on this
right.
side or that side. I had my own reasons why I decided.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be, right? Like you
Yeah, absolutely.
don't want it. And this is another thing that's become people's identity, is being on one side or the other, or this team, to where you can't even ask a question. And that's the bummer. Like you just want to ask a question, because like you said, you can ask a question and you can get these opinions, or these ideas from other doctors, people that you trust.
Hmm.
um, and then you come to your own conclusions. And same thing for me. I've talked to doctors that have gotten it, and then others that have said that it's going to last for 6 months, and then you got to do it again, or 8 months. And but yeah, like the whole mask thing, whatever, like do it. It doesn't really bother me. You get used to it.
Hmm.
um it makes some people happy, and then in the end, it's like, I don't I just it's not really something for me to argue about. Like, whatever, just do it. Cool. And either way, right? Like, who cares? It just, again, you adapt and overcome. Take it off every hour or so, take a break from tattooing, go outside, breathe, come back in.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever makes
Yeah.
people happy.
And we're the same way in the emergency department. I mean, we're being as protective as we can. And over the holidays, we really got slammed, with just increased cases, I mean, that's all, it was COVID crazy,
Yeah.
between Thanksgiving and essentially the first couple of weeks of January. We've a little bit tapered off, but it's, we're still seeing it. But I don't know. It's almost like the stigma for us has kind of, or like the I don't want to say it, just the fear of it has kind of been like, ah, they're COVID now. Okay, all right. Where
Right.
before it was like, oh my God, they're COVID. We're, it was,
Right.
hazmat suits and everything like that.
Well, a lot
But
of people, do you think that it kind of goes back to people not having those life experiences to where everything, every little thing that happens is like the end of the world, or you're like, well, wait, okay, there's a problem here, so now what's the solution? That's the way that that's the way that I look at it. um and if you but when you are trying to navigate through all the different contradictions and all that stuff, it's hard to find that path or that solution. um that's where things get frustrating, and that's where people, I think, start panicking. And
mhm,
I mean, San Bernardino County, where I live, I think was one of the worst places, like highest number of cases in California and everything
mhm,
else.
mhm.
And then Redlands actually had the most deaths within the county, which was crazy.
Yeah,
uh, I mean, it was most. I hate to
I
say
know
it,
where you're
but
going with that. Yeah,
yeah, it was older. But
right.
uh, but yeah, yeah, it's wild to say the least. But it's looking like, we'll be fine. And then you start wondering, well, what's going to be next? What's the next thing we're going to argue about? What's the next
Right,
thing?
right,
It's
right.
crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of over it and wanting to get back to some sort of
Yeah.
normalcy where we can, go to a baseball game, and, you know, get
Have
back
you
to.
watched, sorry, have
No, you're
you
good.
watched like, um, what was I watching? I was watching like ACDC or something, or even just a fight, like an old fight. Like I was watching like a Conor McGregor fight, the Khabib and Conor McGregor fight, and you're watching it, and the crowd's there, and it's almost like you're watching a movie of like thinking into the future, how that might, maybe that'll happen someday, and it almost doesn't feel like it already has happened. Like it
Mhm.
seems so foreign, and you're watching all these people next to each other and cheering and being happy.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah, every
that's
time
so
I
crazy.
I watch a replay of a sports match, soccer or whatever it is on TV, and the people, nobody's wearing a mask, and I'm like, oh well, that that's definitely not live.
Right.
You honestly, before you would never even pick it out, but now it's kind of
Yeah.
ingrained that, yeah, it's a different world right now. Well, listen,
Yeah.
Brian, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up, man. This has been an amazing conversation. I'm really grateful that you came on. I'm really grateful that we have had this opportunity, and I'd love to have you back on. I really think we could go on for hours about
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
about the different stuff. So you'll definitely be a regular. I hope you'd love to come on and share some more insight. Again, Brian Seghers, he is the owner operator of Rendition Tattoo in Redlands, California. He also owns 454 Tattooing in Encinitas, California. He's a longtime friend of mine from the Lower East Side of Las Vegas, Nevada. We go way back. We've been through a lot of experiences together, and he shared a lot of amazing experiences about his past and his just really opened up about a lot of different things, which I'm very grateful for. And we had a great conversation and a great chat. So I appreciate everybody that's joined us to listen. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen. Brian, thank you so much for getting up so early and willing to be a part of this podcast. Um, you can any kind of plugs you wanna throw out there real quick before we close up.
Uh, well, no, no, I mean, you covered it. I did start a hot sauce company. So I got a
Oh,
hot sauce
absolutely.
company going.
It's called, what's
But
the name of it?
just Redlands hot sauce. Redlands
That'll
hot
work.
sauce.
That'll work. It
But
looks delicious, man. I've seen some of your pics on it. It looks absolutely amazing. I'll have to get
yeah,
some.
I'll get you some out there, man. I'm pumped on it. Is my partner and I, and yeah, it gets me away from opening a restaurant. I just wanted to do something with food and all that, so it's cool. But yeah, man, thank you. Thanks for reaching out. If nothing else, I miss talking to my friends. I hate
Yeah,
I hate
absolutely.
seeing hate seeing and only talking to my friends at funerals or when things are going on. So uh yeah, I hope that whether it's this or whatever, just we stay in contact and we're able to just shoot text to other friends that you haven't talked to for a while and just see how they're doing, you know? It's
Absolutely.
there's always more to it than what you see on social media.
Absolutely. Yeah. Conversation is a dying breed. And I think that it's something that's needed more, especially nowadays, no matter where you stand or whatnot. I think it's definitely needed.
Yeah,
So
man. Yeah, yeah.
Redlands hot sauce, get it. If you're out there, man, I love my hot sauce, man. I love my hot sauce. So I'm definitely going to be getting me some of that. But Brian Seghers, once again, thank you so much for joining us. This is Fill in the Blank podcast. You can find me on Fill in the Blank podcast on Facebook, Twitter, the Instagram, as the kids say. Or you can go to my website, fill in the blank podcast .simplecast.com is my website. And also, if you need some tattooing, please check out my friend Brian Seghers at Rendition Tattoo in Redlands, California. Brian, thank you so much again, man. It's been great to talk with you. I hope the best for you and your family.
Thank you.
These my dollars make it hurt.